Hey everyone, and welcome to Top Think. Today we'll learn 12 interesting psychological facts about quiet people. Now, let's begin. Has anyone ever called you a quiet person? The word quiet has taken on many different meanings. We assume that quiet people are quiet for a reason, that their preference for silence indicates something negative about their confidence or self-esteem. But as you'll see, this could not be further from the truth. We may also assume that a quiet person is shy, but these two personality traits are simply not the same. A shy person is someone who feels uncomfortable expressing themselves in social situations. In other words, someone who's shy struggles to feel at ease around other people, but the same thing isn't necessarily true of someone who's quiet. A quiet person simply talks less and listens more. They may feel comfortable and calm around everyone they meet. They may be secure in who they are and confident in their individuality. A quiet person may seem entirely unfazed by the busiest and most stimulating social situations, yet they choose to be quiet anyway. It's this quality that makes quiet personalities interesting and sometimes mysterious to the people they meet. Instead of shyness, quietness is more commonly associated with a central personality dimension known as introversion. Now, not every introvert is quiet, and not every quiet person is an introvert, though the two qualities do go hand in hand. Introverts tend to focus on their rich inner lives. They're self-reflective and self-contained. They gain satisfaction from solitary activities and, like quiet people, may have a lower tolerance for social stimulation. To many, quietness or introversion are signs of weakness, evidence of discomfort or deep insecurity. However, one thing has become very clear as psychologists learn more about quiet people. A quiet person isn't an extrovert who's afraid to use their voice. They're not shy, they're not timid, and they're not insecure either. Instead, they exist in a category all their own with strengths, weaknesses, advantages, and shortcomings. In other words, quiet people, just like outgoing or talkative people, experience the world in a unique and interesting way. So what does it really mean to be a quiet person? What interesting things have psychologists learned about these less than expressive individuals? Well, to that end, let's dive into 12 interesting psychological facts about quiet people. Because the most introverted people you know may also be the most interesting. Number 1. Powers of analytical observation. Quiet people see the world a little bit differently. While extroverted personalities can get active and involved, quiet people like to sit back and observe. It's this watchful mentality that allows them to notice little things that others don't. For instance, you might notice patterns in how people move or talk or socialize. As a sharp observer, you can easily make connections between subtle observations and draw conclusions about the world around you. This little-known psychological skill makes quiet people both conscientious and resourceful. They may not be the loudest people in the room, but few things ever escape their watchful gaze. Number 2. Rapid reactions. Introverts and extroverts don't process information in the same way. According to a 2012 study, quieter people react more quickly to novel stimuli and process information more deeply. For example, if something unexpected pops up in front of you, an introvert may react a tiny bit faster. Now, of course, it's a small margin. This difference doesn't always translate into any real-world advantages. Nevertheless, psychological discoveries give us an interesting window into the fast-working minds of quiet individuals. Number 3. Unstoppable self-sufficiency. Quiet people may not have the loudest voices, but they make some of the most efficient workers, especially when you leave them alone. Unlike many people who excel in a group or team environment, many quiet people thrive in solitude. They perform at their best when they have full control over their work schedule and environment. They rarely need someone looming over their heads or checking on their progress. Instead, these introverted individuals are notoriously self-sufficient. Once given a task, they can motivate and discipline themselves, putting their heads down and working hard until the job's done. If you're a quiet person, you may fall into the same category. You like other people, and you can find success in team environments, but you feel the most productive when left to your own devices. Number 4. Biological programming. Why are some people quieter than others? For many years, researchers assumed that quiet people are made, not born. We assume that quiet personalities are created by their experiences, but recent studies tell a very different story. A closer look at the brains of loud and quiet people revealed structural differences between these opposing personality types. These findings suggest that quiet people are to some extent biologically programmed to listen more than they talk. Number 5. Mental exploration. Quiet or introverted people spend a lot of time reflecting on their interior selves. They're hypervigilant about how they spend their time and are often willing to sacrifice material luxuries for self-improvement or exploration. For example, a quiet person might wear similar outfits every day to reduce the number of extraneous choices in their lives. These kinds of minimalist routines make their internal lives more productive and inspiring. With every sacrifice they make, quiet people get a stronger understanding of who they are and what they value. Number 6. Quietly powerful leaders. Do quiet people make good leaders? Recent studies have shown that communication is often more important in leadership than extroversion. In other words, it's not how gregarious you are, but how well you communicate with others. Quiet people can be excellent communicators. Their subtle communication style is especially appealing to proactive workers who appreciate bosses who lead by example. Even if they aren't always the loudest person in the room, quiet people can be great leaders too. Number 7. Internal brain activity. Some people find value in external sensory activities like attending a concert or watching a movie. But many quiet people would rather organize their schedule than attend a loud concert. Why? Well, because these solitary intellectual activities, also known as internal brain activities, stimulate different parts of the brain. This comes from a study conducted at the University of Iowa. Researchers scanned the brains of quiet people, revealing some interesting differences in brain activity. Quieter people demonstrated more activity in the frontal lobe and anterior thalamus, which are associated with planning, problem-solving, and memory. If you've ever wondered why you enjoy planning, organizing, and solving problems, well, it may be because you're a quiet person. Number 8. Damaging self-esteem. How easily are you swayed by others' opinions? We all value the opinions of others and often consider how people perceive us. But it's not always healthy to put others' opinions before our own. Care too much about what people think of you, and you may struggle to build self-esteem. Care too little, and you might neglect or damage your relationships. Studies show that quiet people struggle more than most to strike a healthy and satisfying balance. On the one hand, they value self-exploration and gain satisfaction from personal passions. But on the other hand, quiet people tend to have lower self-esteem and less confidence in highly social settings. For example, you may feel strong and confident on your own, but become self-conscious around groups of people. For some quiet people, this natural dualism discourages social engagement and validates personal insecurities. But that's not always the case. With a little practice and courage, your quiet personality can actually help you in social settings. As long as you maintain confidence in yourself, your introverted demeanor can become one of your greatest strengths. Number 9. Low tolerance for stimulation. Why do introverts and extroverts respond differently to the same social situations? Well, it all comes down to your tolerance for sensory stimulation. Experiences that feel exciting to extroverts may seem draining to someone quiet and self-contained. In social environments, especially quiet people have a lower tolerance for stimulation. Why? Well, because their brain's reward system is wired a little differently. While extroverts thrive on rushes of dopamine triggered by highly stimulating situations, quiet people have less active reward systems. They tend to produce less dopamine but are also more sensitive to its effects. The end result is a low tolerance for stimulation and a preference for less exciting activities. Number 10. Choosing your happiness. Would you rather have a calm life or an exciting one? When asked to choose one or the other, introverts and extroverts may not always agree. More gregarious people tend to prefer exciting lives over calm ones. Quieter personalities, on the other hand, find more happiness or satisfaction in moments of calm and serenity. Number 11. Sharp listening skills. If you're a quiet person, you're probably a great listener. Quiet people tend to develop very strong listening skills thanks to years of experience. You're accustomed to being the most introverted person in the room. Most of the time, people talk and you listen, but those listening skills speak volumes about your personality. Good listeners tend to be sincere and curious and open-minded and usually get a stronger understanding of the people they meet. In other words, you may be quiet, but your good listening skills make you a good person and an exceptional judge of character. Number 12. The introvert bias. Even for professionals in the field, it's challenging to measure and generalize the experiences of different personality types. This is especially true of introverts who are naturally quiet and private about their experiences. Just think about it this way. If I wanted to figure out which restaurants serve the best burgers in a city, whom should I ask? A group of people who love hamburgers or people who don't eat much red meat? Researchers encounter a similar problem studying the experiences of loud and quiet people. Most extroverts are excited to share their experiences and they tend to give higher scores and more extreme responses. Well, the opposite is true for quieter personalities. Their scores tend to be underwhelming because they're not as enthusiastic about sharing their experiences. Hey, thank you for watching Top Think and be sure to subscribe because more incredible content is on the way.